Hi guys, I'm Mr. Steam, and today I'm explaining what a metre is. A metre is this long. But why? You see, the metre is the foundation of the metric system. All other measurements within the metric system come from the metre. You see, 1 litre is 1 cubic decimetre. 1 gram is the weight of 1 cubic centimetre of water. So that begs the question, what is a metre? The short story is, a metre is the distance light travels in a vacuum in 1 second divided by 299,792,458. Confusing, I know. I mean, why exactly that number? Let's go back a bit. In the beginning, everybody measured things differently. There were inches, which is 3 pieces of barley side by side. But every bit of barley is different. There were cubits, which is the length of a man's arm from his elbow up to the tip of his fingers. The foot is the size of someone's foot. But whose foot? So in France, in the late 1700s, they decided to develop a universal measurement based on science rather than something arbitrary or something to do with human anatomy, or they just needed a new way of measuring things. So what they decided to do, they decided to measure from the equator to the North Pole while passing through France and divide that distance by 10 million. And that was going to be what the metre was. So that's what they did. They went off and they decided to measure, and they travelled across the world. They went around and they measured exactly how far it was. Don't ask me what they measured in, but they measured it anyway. And they worked out the length that they thought was exactly the distance between the North Pole and the equator, and they divided it by 10 million, and that was the metre. From that metre, they got this rod, and they made it exactly a metre length, and that was called the metre rod. However, it was later discovered that they measured wrong. They miscalculated the curvature of the Earth, which means the metre should actually be equivalent to what is now 1.0029 of a metre. So it should be like 1/10 of a mil bigger. So it's wrong. This makes the metre an estimate rather than an indisputable fact backed by science. And it's because of this estimate that scientists, they set out to define what a metre is. Now, they couldn't change the length of a metre. It still had to be the metre, because that would have been way too complicated. Imagine now going through all the schools changing the rulers. The first thing they did, they went out and they thought, we need to base this on science. So they got an element of krypton, and they put it in a vacuum, and when they bombarded it with particles, they measured the light waves. They based the metre on that. However, that was way too complicated. Let's go with a universal constant. One of the most indisputable universal constants is the speed of light. The official distance of a metre is the distance light travels in a vacuum in 1 second, divided by 299,792,458. Now, I'm Mr. Steam, and that is what a metre is.